you live in your life happily. And then you're figuring out that there are some things in life you really want to do, but you don't because you have fears. That's like if it goes from pain. But if it goes from love, you're like, I like to listen to people my whole life. I want to make a podcast now. That's like one way as well. But that's like same line. One goes from pain, one goes from love. And then you're like, I want to do this my whole life, at least for now. And then since you want to do this and you don't want to do anything else and you have all the free time of this world and you need to earn money in the end. So you're putting all of your time and all of your effort into doing this stuff. And you're waking up at 6 a.m. because you know you have a podcast. I figured out early as a soul, I want to do two things. I want to create and sell art. I want to do social media because that's like connected for me. Like, but all of that energy before I was putting like into clients' work or something else. Now I just put to my social media and art projects. And since I do this with a huge love, I don't even notice how I do it. And sometimes, so I don't have any discipline here. I'm just doing this and doing this and doing this because that's something I truly want to do. And that's the only thing I want to do.
This is the Space Whispering Podcast with Rainy. Today's guest is Katherine Silk. She is a contemporary artist who brings together contrast and softness, strength and fragility, industrial and organic materials like lipstick and steel. And it's incredible how her works complement each other. Like everything she does is for the person enjoying it feels like they are art. It's a reflection of the beauty in the other person, just as she is. I think that her art is a reflection of who she is. Super soft, but also a super strong person, confident, that stands in her beliefs and helps others do the same. I'm so thankful for her to join me here. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And if you want to work together, please book a discovery session with me at rainy.co. This episode inspire you? Imagine what we can do together. Transform your inner and outer spaces with a soulful approach. Subscribe and hit the like button if you like this episode. Thank you. Besitos. Hola, Katherine. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. We just communicated about this. I had enough sleep and the future is bright. So everything is good.
Yeah, I had little sleep today, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, this morning at 5 a.m. when the alarm sounded, I was like, why did I do this to myself?
It was like another part of you that was thinking about that.
Yes. And then the version of me that was laying in bed at 5 a.m. was like, how? Next time, no. But it's worth it. It's worth it to have you here and to get to know you.
Yes, I'm very glad to be here as well. Like, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for saying yes. I feel honored, honestly. Okay, so I usually start with asking like your name and how did you feel growing up with it, and if it had a meaning or anything about your name that you feel like in your life.
Okay, so my name is pretty usual, I would say. It's Catherine, and I lived in a lot of different countries with different languages, and it's like in different language you have your own way of pronunciation. So it's not like, I don't know, any name like Jack, and Jack will be everywhere same. So I needed to like adapt to different cultures with my name. And like in Poland, it's Kasia, or something else. Like in Germany, it's Katarina, but like in general, it's just Catherine. So it's really similar, but it's different, and I needed to adapt to every single culture. So I'm super fine with my name. Um, there like except that there was nothing special about it, and I like it a lot. And it's not like I like it or I hate it. I'm extremely fine with it. So I was not even thinking to change it. I know what it means, like holy, but again, I'm not too concentrated on this. It was just super funny to understand that my name sounds different in different cultures and different languages, but exists in there. So I always like trying to adapt to cultures with my name.
Yeah, and so was it Catherine, was it like the same, or did you change like the wording of it depending on where you?
So like my parents were always calling me Catherine, but as I said, like when I was in Poland, it's either Katarzyna, either Kasia, like when I'm in Germany, it's Katharina, so like some of the names are misspelled. Or it's Katya, so it's always really, see, like it sounds similar, but like if I'm saying in Austria, hey, my name is Catherine, they're like, can you repeat your name again, please? And if I'm saying, hey, I'm Katarina, they're like, like you always, you're one of us. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So
Did
it's
you
kind
feel? Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
of helps me to adapt to like to those countries and culture.
Yeah. I. Did you? Do you feel like you lose a little bit of yourself, or you just, oh, this is a new version of me? How do you approach that?
Mm, no, maybe in the beginning I was like with my last name and my name, it's always super long to write. And maybe I was a bit angry on that for no reason. But no, I actually think I'm really grateful for this name because, as I said, it helps me to adapt into the culture like this. And I like to adapt to the cultures because what's the point of living in different cultures if you're not accepting and adapting to them?
Wow, that's so interesting. That is so interesting. Because I have a friend that I think that says a lot about a person. Because I have a friend that she used to be mad at me because my full name is Rainelina.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And I always introduce myself as Rainy. And she's like, no, 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 no. Only the special people, like the closest people that are, should call you Rainy. And once people know your full name and how to pronounce it, then and I just looked at her like she would say it repeatedly every time I would meet someone new in front of her. I the thing is, like, I feel that in a way she's right? But in the other way, it's like I've grown up with this name and I always had to spell it out. And it's like uncomfortable, right? Like, just want to get out, like move on. And then I feel the opposite. Like the closest people know my full name. Like it's, more special and yeah.
I think it's whatever comfortable for you with your name and whatever everyone else is saying, like you behave like it's comfortable for you.
Yeah, that's true. But I do question, am I doing it for the other person or doing it for myself? And I always question these things. Yeah. Like,
Mm, yeah, that's true. I think the way you present yourself, of course, and maybe like with your a shorter version of name, you want to be, that's very psychological. It can be so far, far away from truth. But like maybe you want to be more, like easygoing and like all of that. So you go in with your shorter name. And for me, like I have this shorter name as well. It's like Kate, but I don't really like Kate. I like Catherine. So I'm saying everywhere I'm Catherine. And everyone is accepting whatever you're saying them to do. And only you are the one who's thinking in the end is like, did I like my name? Was it good? Was I easygoing with my name or not?
I can see it. I think Catherine is very powerful. And mainly with your last name, like Silk. I love that. Oh, talking about Silk, because immediately I think about like texture. I think about colors, touch, sensuality just by that name. Yeah. So I'm curious about, what you do today and what do you call yourself? And like, if now that we talk about embodying a name, like embodying work or art.
I think I didn't quite get the question.
I know. I agree with you. Even I. So, when I said the name like Silk, in reality, I'm like, okay, is that your real last name or is that, a name you?
On my real last name, I just picked it. And so I had this question that I need to pick an extra like last name for this art stuff and etc. And I thought that it's something really where you should think and be patient and like pick from a lot of different options. Because I'm a brand designer and creative director in the past, not such a long past, but in the past. And with this one, it just went by itself every single time I think about something, I really like. That's like silk is the first association that goes with it. And as you said, I really like it because it's something really smooth, fresh. At the same time, it's physical, so you can touch it, and it's not super regular, so it's not like cotton. I mean, in this way or anything. And thanks to its texture and color, it can be associated with pretty anything. Like even with this steel and metal I'm working on, for me, similar textures in the visual representation of them. So, and it's short. So yes, you get it quite good with like associations and etc.
Wow. It's incredible how a name or the pronunciation of a name can change like your attitude or also describe who you are like immediately or what you want to portray. Because it is a persona, you know, because
Yes,
like,
like once you creating your persona, you want to think about like, as you said, with like with your even shorter name and longer name. That's not just about even picking your personality. You're thinking about persona you want to be, right? So you creating your own personal brand by just picking your name in a way that it's easier for you to go with your personal brand of your own. That's nice.
it is nice, right? So then it takes me to like masks. But the thing is like, it's not even a mask because it is a version of you that you're deciding for it to be shown. And it's contained in a way, but it also exciting because you can, use it as a reference. So it's not a mask. It's really like a version of you.
I think it's in a way that you need to have some borders to be fully creative and to like, mm, you can be as creative and as interesting without any borders, but then it's like whole universe and you can get super easily lost in there. But once you get any borders, like you have your name as well for the border, for like being able to tell my name is I'm existing. I'm here. I'm in this world. And if you would not have this border, you would be just a person. And maybe you would not have any mask, but you will still have struggles, like to understand who are you, what are you doing. And in case, like, since you have your name, even if you're not sure which person are you and like what are you doing, at least you know I'm Catherine or like I'm Rainy. I know this. I'm grounded with this. So it's a nice thing, small border or like something you can rely on a little bit and then create any faces and masks you want. Like even without masks, you still can rely on it. Don't you think so?
I think so. I think so. I really like it. Everything you said makes me think about your work. Like, how do you create like today, or how did you start with what you're doing today? And but I also have this question before that. Like, do you consider yourself an artist?
Yes, of course. Do you consider yourself as artist?
Yes, but I have a hard. I have. I have a harder time accepting it because I'm not producing all the time, but I do produce in other ways. Yes. But yeah.
Right. Yes, I agree with this very much. Whatever you produce in, you're not consuming. So in any case, you're an artist. And I like the English word for this because it's like you're an artist, but then you can be a musician or a painter or like any other. And whatever you're saying, I'm artist, they always ask you back which one. So there's a whole plenty of possibilities of artistic ways. So yes, I consider myself an artist. And I started this, I think, like 10 years ago. Just I really wanted to go to any art school. And I was living with my parents at this time. And I was like, please, please, please. I was begging them. And they're like, no, that's not something for you. And then my friend got sick. My friend that was into all of this art courses and etc. So she got sick or something happened with her. And they said, okay, the place is free. If you really want to go, you can try one class instead of her. So I went there. And since then I stayed there. And I went like to different art academies, and I studied all of this like art history and the tradition of art. And I was painting a lot, but I was painting mainly for myself or for my friends or friends of friends who know that I'm painting. So it's like small commission works. Or from time to time, I was seeing any um like exhibitions where you can register and send your works, and I was doing this as well, and they were accepting my works. So like I was not doing proper artist stuff, but I was always in there. I was trying like to learn from different already established artists, and I was like in different, I think like 10 different exhibitions around the globe. But that was I was never considering this as my job because I was growing up with this thought that artists are always extremely poor. I don't know, they live on an edge. No one likes artists because this like weirdy creepy guy is doing something in his small studio. And like, yes, there are some cool artists, but they are cool, like 1%. And the 99% is creepy old guys. Yeah. And then I think like 2 years ago, I realized, and I hated Instagram and I never like was on social media. So I was really closed from this. And then I figured out that I actually want to do this a lot. So I opened Instagram. I figured out a lot of different artists and they established artists and they are young and they're not creepy. Like I figured out that Instagram and like the whole internet made it so possible for artists to bloom and to have their best times of whatever art they do. I was like, okay, I will start doing this seriously, professionally, and if I will die somewhere in the middle, not becoming like an artist of my dreams, then at least I will die on this path, like at least like this. And that's where like 2 years I started to creating, exploring, like communicating with galleries and blah blah blah. And then like 1 year ago I started this metal series and this lipstick art that goes viral, and I'm still being like, okay, okay.
It's so cool. Was it hard to leave your job or you were doing it both at the same time and you just
No, I don't think it was hard. So I was working as a brand designer and creative director. And as I said, so my whole past, I was like, I wanted to be an artist so badly, but I didn't know that it's even possible to be an artist. Like, I wanted a normal, wealthy life, so I didn't know it was possible to be an artist. That's why I picked design, because design is actually really close to the art. So I started like a social media manager, then as brand designer, then as art director, and then creative director. And I stopped on this creative director and direction thing, and we had already a company established where we were doing like different brand designs for clients. So I just like after I started to take my art seriously, I quit a job like 6 or 8 months once I started. Um, and I still had some clients in our brand design agency, but instead of like taking 3 or 4 and working full time on them, I was taking only one. So it will distract me. And then a couple of months ago, I got offered a really nice job in like cool American company. And I was like, as a creative director, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do both still, like creative direction full time and art full time. And I worked in this company for 2 or 3 months. And though it was my dream job before, I felt extremely exhausted and like that I'm not going to the path I want. And I was like crying on the floor for no like proper reason. I was just crying because I was at this job that I picked myself. So I quit it and I decided that I'm not going there anymore, at least for now.
and you already started the artist, so you had somewhere to fall into. Or when you quit, you were like, I'm going full on what I love.
Like, as I said, I still had some projects that we do, and like it was enough for me to support myself in case something happens.
I like that. I like that. Congrats. That takes a lot of courage. Yeah.
the best thing is that you don't know this. You're like, okay, I'll do this tiny step that I'm so afraid of. And then one more tiny step that I'm so afraid of. And then you're like looking at your past and you'd be like, I did it? Did I? How is it possible? I think like every single artistic person experiences this because it takes a lot of courage and bravery to actually do stuff you want. And you probably have some people around that are telling you, no, no, that's not possible. I tried it, or like I read about it. It's not possible. And then you're like, okay, I will try anyways. And then after you got some like first results, like all of those people are saying, we believed in you. That's of course that was possible. You're making such a nice job. Good for you. And it's not about them even. Like it's just about yourself and you're saying, thank you very much. I listened to myself. Thanking myself.
Have you changed like as a person since this? Like, or do you feel it's just that you're, yeah, that you're more you in a way?
Of course. I'm actually very curious to listen about your story as well then. So I think what changed me wasn't art, because art was here and there every single time. I was trying like even making design, I was trying to like put some art into it. But I started social media, and social media is the thing that changed me a lot in a good way. Like I had a lot of masks, a lot of fears. And when I was working as creative director, it was super fine because if I had a client, I would figure out how this client behaves and what they wear and what they want. And then I would be like a projection of them and I would mirror them a little bit, like wear the same clothing brand, for example. So they will feel like we are on the same line, even in the space. And then like I had a really nice communication, like strategy in general with people. So like I was for them what they want, and that made a lot of sense because that's design. And when you're making this whole brand deal, you wanna to understand who those people are. So you're trying to be like for them. And then it worked. And when I started social media, I figured out that I have so many different fears. I'm so afraid of anything. I was like even putting my phone next to me to film a small reel and I was freaking out. I was like, I'm looking so bad. Is it me? How am I talking? What am I saying? Oh my God, like I'm not allowed even to be here. And then like step by step, every single fear appeared with like every single reel or video I was creating. And I think there was the most like the hugest mental job I have ever done without any psychologist or like anyone, just by doing blog, like on social media. That's a huge mental work. And whoever starts from zero and goes to any result, I think those people are like, I respect them so much. I think those people are super brave. And especially, of course, it's harder in the beginning. There is this theory of ice room, like room full of ice, that you're sitting in a room full of ice and you're hitting it and you're hitting it and you're hitting it and you're hitting it and nothing has changed. And you're like, gosh, it doesn't work. But if you will wait till 100 like degrees, when this whole ice would start melt in seconds, then it will finally work. So when you're starting from zero with all of this artistic struggles, I don't know, and people, and of course struggles about yourself, that's really hard. But once you move this hugest stone, then your room starts to melt and you like finally feel in peace, I guess. So it changed, of course, a lot. How was it for you when you started this whole podcast and communicating with people?
Oh my gosh. So the podcast specifically started because for years I was having conversations like this and I felt like they were staying in four walls. And in a way, there was a point that I was like, more people should listen to this. And not only because of the value of it, or like I felt it was valuable. I felt like what is it to know the person behind the scenes? Like who is that persona? The persona that is in my room with a teddy bear, holding a teddy bear, like this version, like people should get to know it.
Right. But how skinny teddy bear.
And so, yeah, like I was like, no, there's so much value. And also, you know, I can relate with social media because I remember Facebook, like there was always a friend that would open something for me. I remember there was like Facebook, people were like, you're not in Facebook. And then a friend, come on, let me put you in Facebook. I remember when email was created, a friend, I'm like, come on, let me put you on email. Like, and so like I let other people decide first my name on the social media and then, except for Instagram. So when Instagram came up, I was like, wow, wow. And the thing is that I decided not to follow people, like people I knew, because I'm like, oh, that's for Facebook. And I didn't, and I didn't really enjoy Facebook, but Instagram, every time, even today, like every time I open it, for me, it's like a new world, new artists. So I had a purpose that I was only going to follow artists, people that motivated me and like that. It's almost like, it's pleasure in the sense of like all the richness that it's there, that exists. You know, I think that now is where I'm deciding to show, like wanting to create more content and all of this. And you're talking about these fears and, I put content out there, but it's not, only for the podcast, only for the podcast. And, and then the other one is like once a month for my design work. And I'm listening to you and I'm like, how did you even, like create this discipline? Because in a way you created a discipline and a habit to post like every day. And I'm struggling with that. And I think it's all the fears that come up and I'm like, oh,
I honestly don't think it's about discipline. That's the question I got asked the most. Like, how is it to upload 6 reels per day? And I'm like, fine, sometimes tiring. So I think it's not about discipline or even motivation. It's something, it's like this. You live in your life and then happily. And then you're figuring out that there are some things in life you really want to do, but you don't because you have fears. And then you're like, or that's like if it goes from pain, but if it goes from love, you're like, I like to listen to people my whole life. I want to make a podcast now. That's like one way as well, but that's like same line. Just one goes from pain, one goes from love. And then you're like, I want to do this my whole life, at least for now. And then since you want to do this and you don't want to do anything else, and you have all the free time of this world and you need to earn money in the end, you're being like, okay, then I'm doing this. And you have enough of free time. So you're putting all of your time and all of your effort into doing this stuff. And you're waking up at 6 a.m. because you know you have a podcast. And you like, you said even that you have like 3 or 4 different people and you like, you had this discipline. You wrote to all of them. You communicated with all of them. You established a podcast with all of them. Then you will edit this podcast for all of them. And then you will like finally go out and at one point your, as I said, like ice room will start to melt and that's it. And like maybe then you will have already another wishes, like you would, I don't know, that's pet is like you would want to make a TV show, and then for TV show you need a little bit different dreams and etc. So for me with Instagram Reels, I figured out I only wanted 2 things in life, like generally. Of course, then you like have, I don't know, other things as, I don't know, love, wealth, and blah blah blah. But generally, as a soul, I want to do 2 things. I want to create and sell art. I want to do social media because that's like connected for me. But it, like art first, but then it's social media. And since I want it so badly and I want it so much, all of the energy I have, I just simply put into it. Like, as I said already, you have your life and like you're living your full life. But all of that energy before I was putting, I don't know, like into clients' work or something else. Now I just put to my social media and art projects. And since I do this with a huge love, I don't even notice how I do it. And sometimes see, so I don't have any discipline here. I'm just doing this and doing this and doing this because that's something I truly want to do, and that's the only thing I want to do. And then when it goes to sometimes I get tired, of course. So for one day or two, I can say I don't want to do any social media anymore. Like, not like anymore, but I'm tired of this. I don't want to upload anything. I don't want to answer any emails. I just simply don't. It's tiring. And then it's just day or two, not even more. And then I'm like, okay, I'm doing this again. I'm happy to do this again. So it's really short, um, how to say it, like short frame, but I don't want to do this because it seems something you love. And then when I will have another dreams and I will focus on other stuff, maybe I will not be as disciplined in this social media anymore because it will just not be my priority anymore. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there a shift like in you? Was there something that was like, that kind of like almost like broke you, but in the sense of when I say that, it's like, okay, it's this or this. Like, this is it, that pulled you to that. Or,
Um, if I got this right, what you're asking, I had two times. You're you're saying about this period or thing days when you feel like you can't do anymore, you need to change something.
no, like in your past, you were like, when did you make this decision and what helped you make this decision to be like, this is what I'm going to do, like basically talking to yourself and being like, this is what I'm going to do. Was there something that like pushed you towards that or a mindset? Yeah.
So with art, so I had art and social media, and with art, I was not, as I said, I was not even thinking about this because I know it's impossible at that time. But with social media, with like all of this YouTube vlogs and etc., I knew that it's possible. So I was thinking about this more, and I wanted it badly, but I was never allowing myself to. Because if I would even, like, as I said, I was hating Instagram. And if I would even post one single thing on Instagram and like five people will like it, I would freak out a lot. And I would delete this immediately because hard to say why, but I got anxiety, a lot of it. And then when I was already in Vienna, and I was like on one course about design or marketing. Yes, I was like having a course about marketing, and they said in one lecture that you need to promote yourself and able to be seen. And I went to the park and I was like crying and hating myself so much for this because I knew all of this information, but I was so scared to do this. Like it was just a wall that I couldn't pass. And at that day, I decided that I will try, but I didn't start like after this day. But that was really a hard point when I figured out that I just can't anymore. It's really hard to handle these fears with yourself. Like you're going in your bag. um, and then, like, super slightly and simply, step by step, I started to do this in a year. But what helped the most, like, what gives this second step after I was crying on a bench in the park? So I had a birthdays and I was very, very sad on my birthdays. I was like, yes, I got this and I finished this and I made this, but I wasn't feeling happy as though it was really right what I was doing. Like I was a creative director, I was working with a MasterCard, everything was like nice. I should be really happy with what I'm doing, but I wasn't, and I was hating myself even more every single birthday. So there was one company I was working as a art director, and they decided to change the topic, and they decided to like think for some time if they still want to do this business or not. So for 2 months, I wasn't working on anyone. I wasn't working with anyone. So just myself. And I was thinking if I want to go back, if I want to continue, or if I want to do something else. And that's where I remembered this bench and everything. And I decided that, as I said, like at least I will die on this path because it's a really, because it's really valuable thing in life. It's really like hard to figure out what you want, or it's easy to it's either, so there are three steps. Like first, you either figuring out or not what you want, and then when you figuring out what you want, you need to be brave enough to do this. And for example, my father died when he was 43, I guess. And my husband now, he's 37. And only this already helps me to figure out that if I will die now and I'm working as a brand designer, I will die really unhappy. But if I will die now and I will be at least on a path or on this, I will die happy. At least I did something in this world that I wanted. And that's how it started.
So you mentioned we haven't even talked about your art. So you started doing the lipstick and you said that the lipstick went viral. And like I can imagine you kind of freaking out. What?
It's really funny for me because with my smart brain, I was like thinking about the marketing strategy. I'm creative director. I was like thinking, what shall I do and how? And I did this and I made this whole still collection and everything. And then, I'm painting with lipstick sometimes because I have like this different makeup and I'm barely using it and it's fun. I don't know, like it's just fun. So I'm doing this rarely. And one day I was filming a video and I didn't get, I didn't have any pencil with me. I just had my lipstick. And I was like, okay, I'll do this with a lipstick. And then everyone was, that's so great. You're doing this with lipstick. And then already I figured out what I'm doing with this. So I added some simple marketing things. Like I'm painting with the lipsticks. They're like 70 euro lipstick or like 50 euro lipstick. So it's something as could be considered as wasteful, but could be considered as something that is close to fashion world and different brand like I have different brand proposals that really like this just in a way that this lipstick art helps this beauty industry, I would say. So it's like beauty industry knows that they can say to any single woman that's like use our lipstick and you will be way more beautiful, and the woman will be like okay, thank you. But then at one point it's enough and this doesn't work anymore. And women want something else. She wants to be, I don't know, valuable, for example. And lipstick doesn't really help with this. But if you will give this same lipstick to the woman and you will say, your will be more than human. You will be piece of art with this lipstick. That's already valuable. And you're like, okay, two please. So, I don't know, like at least in my brain, it works.
Yeah, it does work to be art. I mean, to be art. I think you're art, by the way. Your whole persona is like,
I think you are too.
and so then like metal. Oh my God. I, so from lipstick to metal, is that sorry, are you using metal? Well,
Yes,
mirrors.
I'm still metal. I'm using steel, so it's still like aluminium
Yeah.
plates.
Yes.
And I'm working on them still a lot. I like it. It's very industrial. It's conceptual. There is a concept behind it, like this mirror on the wall that you kind of not put in the piece of. Oh, I don't know this word in English.
Say it in whatever language you're
It's like
thinking.
when you have this white wall, you get this piece of fabric and you put it on a wall, and then you have like birds pattern on your wall. How this piece of fabric is.
Wallpaper. Wallpaper.
That was easy. So yes, I don't want to create art that will be like a wallpaper on your wall, uh, but something that will like reflect it more as a mirrors. That's why I put aluminium and steel. And as I said, I still work on it. It's industrial concept. It's like for very like it's either for really big place like a home, either for a small one where you want to add art, but at the same time you don't want the art to push you, like you want it to grow your space. And that's one huge brain I'm working on. And the second one is lipstick as a more commercial and contradictionary thing to do, like turning beauty into art. And that's two concepts I'm working on, at least for now.
I love that. But it's so interesting because before you started talking, I was like, it's so different, like from lipstick to steel.
A beautiful point of it, because I'm always saying that art is about contrast, and when you saying yes, I'm full of contrasts, but I value all of them, and I was trying to find this contrast for a really long time. I was even making art out of bacteria, but like lipstick and the still so far is the best I've came up with.
Love it. Because the thing is, like, well, in my view, it's like you started, okay, so first, lipstick, the texture of it is just silk. Again, like super silky and and then you have this like, steel, which is like you said, industrial. So it's rough. It's a completely different material to work with. And so they both require a different set of, I was going to say skill, but like use of your body, use of your brain. But in a way, it's like you said that the lipstick, how to advertise it is women are going to be art, right? So you're elevating the perception of beauty of a woman, and which is more real. Like each woman is their own art. But then you use this material that it's almost reflecting that art back to them, right? So then it's like perfection. So sometimes it's like, people say like gold, to get gold, you have to work in a mine and whatever, like even diamond for it to be polished. Like it's so rough but then it's so beautiful. It's shiny. It's all of this. And I love that. It's like your art now because of this, lipstick, but you can also see it. It's not because I'm telling you, you see it through.
I really like the concept of the mirror. Yeah, it's like art exists here for different reasons, and before it was existing instead of a camera to capture it, then it was existed to show, as you said, like with the stones, to show how professional you are. But then at some point, contemporary art turned into something as to show how freely you are and how creative you are with no borders. And maybe at some point everyone got tired of it because creativity grows, freedom grows, and it just turns into one big black hole where you're not figuring out if the person was super bold and creative or they just did this on a wall and then understood the concept of it. And I like this still material and this like beauty elevated into art because it's something that gives you a little bit more meaning than you thought you even was. Like, you know, you're looking in a mirror and you're saying maybe some different weird stuff to yourself. Like, I don't like myself. You're looking, you're boring. No one likes you. And then when you look at the same kind of mirror through art, like with the still artworks, you see yourself through this prism of art. So you do not want it or you want it, figuring you out or not, but you already like associating yourself with that because you're reflecting through this. And as we all know, through what we reflect in, that's who we are, like that's who we are becoming in the end. It's like if you will have 5 people in your as your closest friends and they will tell you you're so boring and talented, you need to work in finance. No offense, finance. Finance is great. But like, and you'll be like, no, 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 I'm super cool. I'm super cool. Like at some point you will start to believe that finance is your work just because there was so much pressure. And if you will be around artistic people that will be like, wow, you're so great. You're so talented, blah, blah, blah. And you will be like, no, no, I'm just a boring man. I work in finance. Just like paper from one side to another. At some point you will believe finally that you are art. And that's maybe the next step of us as a human beings. Okay, that goes that goes on now.
I like that so much. I feel like art in your presence, actually. Your presence, I can't imagine your work feeling that way. Like, people feeling powerful having your work in their space. Yeah.
That's great. I'm really glad. Like that's the point of art as well. As you said, that it's just a wallpaper, but you want to feel something, right? And it could be, I don't know, the most underrated artist or someone as well. If you feel something looking at his work, like even if you're looking at the work of your 3-year-old son and you're feeling so much love, he already made proper art for you and you already like feeling this. That's great.
Okay, I have one more question, and then whatever you want to say to end as well. But where do you do your work? Where do you do your art? What space do you use?
So I have this apartment and that's like half of apartment, half of a studio, and that's where I work for now. It's in the best location ever. It's like in the most city center of Vienna possible. Like it's next to this huge church, and that's what I like the most. Because I was living in other districts before, and I was returning to this city center place because it's so vibrant and so many beautiful people walking in there, and like it's just. I think I'm not really religious person, more of a spiritual one. And I think those churches and cathedral are believing we are not having this huge amount of energy in there because so many people believed in this egregor for such a long time. Of course, it will have an energy inside. And living next to this egregor already helps me a lot in my own thinking. So that's where I create my art for now. And when I have these hard times, I can go to this cathedral and just like look at it and how people created such a huge building with no proper technology just by their hands, just because they wanted, just because they believed that this is possible. And yeah, but still think that I will, as more people want to buy my art and there's more I need to create, I probably would need to have another space. And I'm already searching for it in like industrial style. But it appeared to be it's not as easy in Vienna to find such a building.
Yeah. You might need to, just an idea, gutter it, like, replace, like, find a place and check, like, if you can remove a false ceiling or something. And you might be able to, like, and maybe in the 70s they remodeled it or something, but it has like behind it, it has like something amazing, like a roof that you couldn't even, yeah, maybe something like that. Like, that would be so cool.
I think once you have in mind what you want and given still the freedom like of the whole world to work for you, then you will find whatever you want to find. Maybe even better.
I think so. And I want to add something about the cathedral because um a lot of these buildings, apart from the conceptual part of them, like, depending in what era they were created, there was like several movements of, like, they would design it to make people feel a certain way. So
Mm-hmm.
depending, yeah, so there's like this huge movement. So they want, like, medieval era, they wanted people to feel small, and so that's why they make you yeah. Another, in the Renaissance, they wanted the expansion, so more light, more, and like the heavens, the earth. And so depending on where, but usually what happens also, that these churches, like, if I don't know a lot of them, but they're like in a grid, specific place. Like, they would calculate, whoever was designing the city, and see where the energy was concentrated in the area. And that's where they would build the churches. But also sometimes, if you see history, other civilizations or other people also built in that area. So it like builds on and on and on and on. And usually these churches are specifically like in places of a lot of like connections, like almost like a vortex kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't remember how the city in Italy is called, that is like super geometrically right, where all of the roads are going to the city center and it looks like a huge star. Like it's perfectly geometrical architectural city. Yeah, I think you're right about this medieval Gothic buildings. I think people now are so well-minded. That's when they go in there and they see the ceilings for like, I don't know, 10 meters, 20 meters high. They're like, that's a nice house for me. I could live there. So no one feels so small anymore. At least I think so. There is some magic in there, truly.
I'm so happy that you follow your intuition, your heart, your gut. Like, you're just like, I want to live here. I want to do this. I'm going to, and just go for it. Thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you
So
so
much.
much.
Thank you for waking up so early. And thank you for sharing your story as well. I think what you're doing with your podcast and like listening to people and energy and like, because like when you're communicating with someone, I think one of the points is to have this energy kind of well structured. So it's not like you feeling tired after someone talking, or you're not feeling tired after like listening to someone. If it's perfect balance and everyone is happy afterwards, and you seem like a very shiny, nice, beautiful person, as you said, like art. And I think you will have a huge success with your podcast and with all of the guests you're inviting. That's really beautiful of you.
Thank you so much. That feels nice. Oof, that feels expansive. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you too. I'm glad to be here.
Besitos. I feel so grateful. Space Whispers. Thank you for spending time with me today. Your host, Rainy, on the Space Whispering podcast. I hope today's episode gave you something to reflect on, inspire you, or energize you to create something beautiful. Help us grow this soulful community and spread the love by subscribing to the podcast, leaving a review, or sharing this episode with your community. If you're feeling called to transform your inner or outer spaces into a true reflection of you, let's connect. Schedule a discovery session with me at rainy.co or Instagram rainy_. What soulful actions will you take today? Keep listening to the whispers of creation and let your soul's magic flow into the world. See you soon. Besitos.